Hello there. Do you know that every time you go shopping, you face a well-developed system which is created to get as much money from you as possible? And even when it comes to online shopping, successful marketplaces use tested by time tactics in order to make you order as much stuff as quickly as possible. You just want to buy some bread in the grocery store next door, you will immediately get exposed and probably will fall into some traps while simply getting to the checkout from the part of the store where bread and other types of pastry are stored. You look at your cart and boom, there are already so many things there, which you initially didn't plan on buying. And of course, while waiting in the line, you'll also grab a pack of gum. Do you know how all of this is called? It's called conspiracy. But seriously, I always like hearing about some tricks which sellers and other people use in order to persuade someone. Looking back at my example, stores are filled with such tricks. Maybe even there are more of them than you're thinking of right now. If you're interested in this topic, you can easily find it on the web in a couple of minutes. Why do they do it? Obviously, because it leads to more money raised. At least they believe so. But don't get me wrong, the point of this video is not to judge the system. Honestly, I don't think it's evil. My point is, by knowing at least a little about the science of persuasion, not only you can influence other people better, but also be aware of others trying it on you. If you don't know me, my name is Leo. I create videos on minimalism, science-based tips on productivity and time management, and happiness. And of course, if you're interested in improving your skills in this area, you're welcome to subscribe to my channel and smash the like or dislike button to let me know whether you enjoyed this video. Now let's get back to our topic, influence, the psychology of persuasion. The author of this book, Robert Cialdini, is a PhD, and this is arguably the most famous book on behavioral science ever created. Warren Buffett ranks Cialdini's book as his number 3 best business book of all time. Many people believe it's the best. By the end of this video, you'll learn about 6 principles of persuasion he discusses in his book. And if you watch attentively, you'll be able to detect that just while introducing this book, I used at least a couple of them. Let me know in the comments if you managed to spot them. We tend to trust people who are perceived as having authority. Let's generate some YouTube-related examples. If you're watching a video on how to create a perfect YouTube advertisement campaign, you probably more likely will click on the video of a content creator who's dressed formally and looks like authority. Or maybe if you wanna learn something about meditation, you'll more likely listen to advice of a Tibetan monk who've been living in the mountains in solitude for the last 13 years than to a guy from the video about YouTube ads. Because the monk looks more qualified. That's why you can see PhD on the cover of this book. People probably will trust Robert's advice much more because of the fact that he is a doctor of philosophy. The thing is, even scientists are prone to follow this principle. Look at this study I recently stumbled upon. They invited more than 3,000 researchers to review a paper written by a prominent author and by a relatively unknown author. Only 23% recommended reject when the prominent researcher was the only author shown. 48% did so when the paper was anonymized, and 65% did so when the little-known author was the only author shown. That's pretty interesting. So basically, there is a higher chance of your paper to be approved if you're a well-known figure and people conducting a review see your name than if you're a novice, even if your paper is the same. So my point of this part of the video, don't rely solely on the rank of other people and check your information if you need to. Reciprocity. In short, we tend to return favors. All that 1 month for free stuff is based on this practice. As Robert Cialdini writes, one consequence of the rule is an obligation to repay favors we have received. Another consequence of the rule, however, is an obligation to make a concession to someone who has made a concession to us. For example, a Boy Scout offers a $5 chocolate bar, you don't want to buy it so you refuse, but he's a pretty smart kid, so he offers a $1 candy. And even if you don't suspect anything, That kid has used the advantage of reciprocity. He made a concession and offered you a less expensive item. So maybe you will wanna answer with a concession of your own and buy that small candy. That's how bargaining works. If you're a customer in a local market, you offer a really low price, which makes the seller immediately refuse. But that's not all. You don't want to simply go away. Now you offer a higher price, but so that it will still be lower than the one that the seller offered you before you started bargaining. And now he or she feels kind of obliged to return your favor. Maybe she will increase the price a little, but still, that first lowest price had an anchoring effect, and your concession increased your chances of lowering the initial price. I know, of course, it won't work every time, but it's about the probability. I recently saw a video of a great YouTube creator whose content is focused mostly on finance and investing, and in that video he said something like, "Everything on my channel is free." You see, that's another example. It's a great statement which makes people who watch this video kind of indebted to return the favor. Consistency. People behave consistently with what they have previously said or done. We tend to repeat actions or words we agreed on. Of course, salespeople have known it for a long time. And yes, they can definitely take advantage of this desire to stay consistent. People who are trained to call possible customers to offer their services sometimes start the conversation with something like, "How are you?" You answer this question, and after that, you may feel the need to stay consistent and continue being nice to that person, answering questions he or she asks. It will basically cause you to respond in ways that justify our earlier decision. Not only they can take advantage of it, but you as well. You want to try sticking to a great habit, which will probably make you better at something. You can say to your friends that you are now doing it regularly. For example, you'll tell people you live with that you'll go for a quick walk outside every morning. Or maybe you buy an expensive gym membership for a year, you spend a lot of money, and you want to justify your previous actions, and maybe you will go to the gym more often and then fall in love with weightlifting. Social proof. When people aren't sure what to do, they look at others. For example, you buy things that have lots of positive reviews, or maybe when you don't know which movie to watch, you choose something highly rated on IMDb. People often follow the actions of others. Here is another more tragic example. In the late 18th century, German writer Goethe wrote a novel that involved a suicide. The story became quite popular and unfortunately inspired copycat suicides, simply because of that book. That's crazy. As Cialdini writes, when people are uncertain, they look to the actions of others to guide their own actions. Scarcity. The idea of potential loss plays a large role in human decision making. Stuff like, we have only one left in stock, like on Amazon, or timers which make people hurry up and order quickly, otherwise they lose some benefits like lower price or free delivery. People seem to be more motivated by the thought of losing something than by the thought of gaining something of equal value. I knew an old lady who was a grandmother of my friend, and she always bought a lot of stuff because people always told her that that was a limited supply item from China. They said it almost every time, and it worked almost every time. I'm not even sure if the supply was really limited at any point of that time. Like a tendency to consent with someone we like. You've heard of the halo effect, right? It's the tendency for positive impressions of a person in one area to positively influence one's opinion or feelings in other areas. Or famous good cop, bad cop. One of the policemen is trying to support the suspect and act kindly, and other acts aggressively. The point of doing it for the good cop is to gain trust of the suspect and offer him something he couldn't refuse. Okay, it's time for a quick summary. Authority. We tend to trust people who are perceived as having authority. Reciprocity. We tend to return favors. Consistency. People behave consistently with what they have previously said or done. Social proof. When people aren't sure What to do? They look at others. Scarcity. The idea of potential loss plays a large role in human decision making, and liking, tendency to consent with someone we like. I truly hope this video is helpful. Subscribe if you want to see more, and have a good day.